Have you ever noticed how a man can go from being completely crazy about you, texting nonstop, planning dates, that making you feel like you're the only woman in his world, to suddenly cold? The energy shifts. He stops chasing. You start wondering, what happened? Did I do something wrong? You replay every conversation in your head, trying to figure out the exact moment his desire disappeared. Here's the truth. It's not about your looks. It's not about your age or how flirty you were or whether you slept with him too soon. It's about energy. Mild desire isn't something you earn through effort. It's something you spark through how you show up, how you make him feel. And so many incredible women unknowingly kill that spark without realizing it. They think they're doing the right things, being loving, understanding, available, when in reality they're draining the mystery, excitement, and magnetism that makes a man crave them. The crazy part, most men won't ever tell you what turned them off. They'll just fade. They'll say things like, I've been busy, or I'm not ready for anything serious, when what they really mean is the desire's gone. But here's the empowering part. You can reignite that spark. You can learn exactly what keeps a man hooked, not through games or manipulation, but by understanding the 5 silent mistakes that instantly kill male desire. And once you see these patterns, you'll never beg for attention again. You'll radiate the kind of confidence that makes a man chase you, adore you, and feel lucky just to be around you. Because desire isn't about being the hottest woman in the room. It's about being the woman whose energy he can't forget. So before you blame yourself, before you text him again or try to fix what went wrong, pause. Let's talk about these 5 mistakes that push men away faster than anything else, and how you can flip that dynamic completely in your favor. Ladies, before we dive in, tell me in the comments, have you ever felt a man lose interest out of nowhere? What do you think caused it? I want to know your story, because by the end of this video, you'll see exactly what happened and how to make sure it never happens again. Let's talk about one of the biggest attraction killers. Something so subtle most women don't even realize they're doing it. Being too available too soon. When a man enters your life and suddenly you're answering every call, replying to every text the second it hits your phone, clearing your schedule just to see him, it may feel like love, like effort, like interest. But to him, it feels like the chase just ended. See, attraction thrives on tension. That spark you feel when you're wondering, is he thinking about me? He feels that too. Desire isn't born in comfort, it's born in curiosity. And when you become too available too quickly, that curiosity vanishes. Men fall for women who have a life that excites them. A woman who's busy building her own world, focused on her passions, her friends, her goals. That's magnetic. Why? Because it tells him she's not waiting around for a man to give her life meaning. She already has one, and that's the kind of woman a man feels lucky to win over. But when you drop everything for him, when your plans, your time, your emotional energy all start revolving around his, you unconsciously send a message that says, my world now belongs to you. That's not romantic, that's pressure. And pressure doesn't make men fall deeper, it makes them pull away. Think about it. When you first meet someone, the excitement comes from the unknown. You don't know when you'll see them next. You don't know what they're thinking. That mystery keeps your mind buzzing. The same goes for him. If he knows exactly when you'll respond, what you'll say, and how fast you'll show up, there's no thrill left to chase. Being too available doesn't mean you should play hard to get. That's fake energy, and it never works long term. What it does mean is that you need to honor your time. Don't cancel your plans. Don't wait by the phone. Don't be afraid to say, I'd love to see you, but I already have something tonight. How about tomorrow? That simple sentence tells him, I'm interested, but I have a life. And here's what happens when you do that. His respect for you grows. He starts to earn your time instead of just expecting it. And when a man has to earn your attention, he values it more. It's human nature. We all treasure what isn't easily handed to us. Now, some women fear that pulling back means he'll lose interest completely. But the opposite is true. When you're not always immediately available, you create space, and that space allows desire to grow. It gives him a chance to miss you, to think about you, to imagine what you're doing. And that's when you become unforgettable. Here's the secret. You don't need to chase a man when your energy makes him chase you. Your calm confidence, your ability to enjoy life with or without him, that's what keeps him magnetized. So ask yourself, have you been giving too much too soon? Have you been showing him that your time, your attention, your affection are limitless? If so, it's time to shift. Pull back just enough to let him step forward, because a woman who values her time doesn't need to prove her worth. Her worth is already clear in her boundaries, her balance, her confidence. And that's the kind of energy a man can't resist. Be honest. Have you ever caught yourself being too available for someone who didn't match your effort? What happened when you started valuing your time more? Drop your story in the comments. I promise every woman watching will relate. Let's be honest, we've all been there. You like someone and suddenly you start editing yourself. You say what you think he wants to hear. You dress the way you think he'll like. You avoid topics that might scare him off. You try to be chill, easygoing, flawless. You think if I just do everything right, he won't leave. But here's the paradox. The moment you start trying to be perfect, you stop being real. And that's the moment his desire begins to fade. Men don't fall in love with perfection. They fall in love with authenticity, because perfection feels untouchable. It's intimidating. It's not human. A man might admire a perfect woman, but he can't connect to her. Real connection, the kind that creates lasting desire, only happens when he sees your truth. Think about the early stages of dating. You might hold back your opinions, your boundaries, your weird laugh, your passion for something that might make you too much. You're trying to be the cool girl, the one who never complains, never asks questions, never needs anything. And sure, it works for a while. He might be intrigued, but soon something feels off because he doesn't see the real you. He's falling for an image, not a woman. Here's the secret no one tells you. When you show your real self, your humor, your opinions, even your vulnerability, you create emotional intimacy. And that's where true desire lives. Physical attraction might start a spark, but emotional connection keeps the fire burning. Men want a woman who makes them feel, not one who's acting out a version of what she thinks they want. When you're authentic, you give him something rare: comfort. The comfort to drop his mask too. You open a space where both of you can be honest, raw and real, and that's magnetic. Now, I get it, many women try to be perfect out of fear of being rejected, fear of being too emotional, fear of losing him, but that fear drives you into performance mode, and nothing kills attraction faster than emotional inauthenticity. When everything feels rehearsed, the chemistry dies. Authenticity doesn't mean oversharing or being dramatic. It means owning your truth. It means saying, "That comment hurt my feelings," instead of pretending it's fine. It means laughing loudly when something's funny. It means being bold enough to disagree. It means showing up as a woman who's comfortable in her skin, not desperate for approval. And here's the most beautiful part. When you stop trying to be perfect, you start to relax. You start to enjoy the connection instead of managing it. And when you're relaxed, radiant, and genuine, you tap into your feminine energy, the energy that naturally draws a man in. Men can sense when a woman is trying to prove her worth. They can also sense when she already knows it. The first makes them pull back. The second makes them lean in. So the next time you find yourself overanalyzing, overperforming, or overthinking how to impress him, stop, take a breath, and remember your realness is your superpower. The woman who laughs at herself, speaks her truth, and isn't afraid to be imperfect, that's the woman who leaves a lasting impression. Ladies, I want to hear from you. Have you ever caught yourself trying to be perfect for someone only to feel emotionally drained? What happened when you finally decided to just be yourself? Drop your story in the comments. Your honesty might inspire another woman watching this right now. Here's one of the most heartbreaking mistakes so many women make. They confuse a man's attention for his intention. And in doing so, they start investing emotionally in someone who was only ever offering breadcrumbs. It starts subtly. He flirts. He texts you at night. He compliments your smile, your energy, your body. He makes you feel seen, wanted, alive. Every message gives you a rush, a tiny dopamine hit that says, he's into me. But deep down, there's a question lingering. What does he really want to see? Attention is easy. Anyone can give it. Intention, on the other hand, requires effort, consistency, and emotional investment. Attention is him saying, "You're beautiful." Intention is him saying, "When can I see you again?" And actually showing up. The problem is, many women crave connection so deeply that they mistake excitement for interest. They interpret constant messaging, playful flirting, or casual affection as signs of real desire. But attention without follow-through is like a spark without oxygen. It burns bright for a moment, then dies out. Men are wired to pursue. But But not every man who pursues you has the capacity to love you. Some chase because it feeds their ego, not their heart. They enjoy the thrill of your response, the validation of your attention, the feeling of being wanted. But once they have that, their mission is complete, and they disappear, leaving you wondering what changed. That's why it's so important to watch what he does, not what he says, because words can seduce you, but actions reveal truth. A man with intention moves differently. He doesn't just appear when he's bored or lonely. He plans, he follows up, he pays attention to the little things you say. He wants to know your world, not just your body. He invests his time, not just his charm. When you confuse attention for intention, you start overgiving. You match his energy even when he hasn't earned it. You begin to chase emotional validation, checking your phone, replaying conversations, wondering why he hasn't texted back. You start to lose yourself in the chase for his affection. That's when your feminine energy, the energy that makes you magnetic, starts to fade. Because the moment you start chasing, the polarity shifts. The more you try to secure him, the less he feels the need to pursue you. Desire evaporates. The most powerful thing you can do is slow down and observe. Don't just get swept up in his words. Study his consistency. Does he make plans or just promises? Does he show up when it matters or only when it's convenient? Does he want to know you or just win you? When you start paying attention to his intention, you protect your emotional energy. You stop over-giving to men who only offer half effort. You hold your value by waiting for alignment, not attention. The truth is, real attraction isn't built on games or endless texting. It's built on effort matched by consistency. When you stop rewarding lazy attention with your full energy, the dynamic shifts, the wrong men fade away, and the right ones step up because they can sense your standards. And that's the essence of feminine power, not in chasing, but in choosing. When you no longer confuse attention for intention, you stop settling for moments and start demanding meaning. Because a man's words can excite you, but only his actions can keep you. And when you start believing that you'll never again fall for someone who was only half there. Let's talk about one of the most painful and exhausting mistakes women make, the habit of over-giving. You meet a man who excites you. You start to care for him, nurture him, make his life easier. You listen when he's stressed, support his dreams, cook for him, plan surprises, maybe even forgive things you shouldn't. You tell yourself, if I just love him harder, he'll see how much I care. But instead of deepening his desire, something strange happens. He starts pulling away. He stops appreciating you the way he used to. He becomes distant, detached, and you're left wondering, why does he seem less interested? When I'm giving him everything, here's the hard truth: when you give too much too soon, without making sure it's being matched, you create imbalance. You shift from being his partner to being his provider. And while men love being cared for, they don't desire the woman who feels like a mother or a manager. Desire thrives in reciprocity, the dance of give and take, not give and give. Overgiving often comes from a beautiful place: empathy, compassion, and the wish to make someone happy. But underneath it, there's usually something deeper: fear. Fear that if you stop giving, he'll stop caring. Fear that if you hold back, he'll lose interest. So you pour more, you give more, you prove your worth through your effort. But here's the irony: the more you give to earn love, the less you receive it, because love born from obligation isn't desire, it's dependency. Men fall in love with women they can invest in, not women who overinvest in them. When you do everything, solve everything, and expect nothing in return, he subconsciously stops trying, not because he's cruel, but because you've taken over the effort. You've made the dynamic one-sided. And once the challenge is gone, so is the attraction. Think of relationships like a rhythm. When both people contribute equally, energy flows. There's respect, appreciation, and connection. But when one person keeps giving without pause, the rhythm breaks. It becomes noise, and one person starts to tune out. So how do you fix this? By learning the art of receiving. Receiving doesn't make you selfish, it makes you balanced. It means allowing him to give, to show up, to make effort. When he offers help, say yes. When he compliments you, don't brush it off. Receive it. When he plans something, don't jump in to organize everything. Let him lead sometimes. When you receive with grace, you allow him to contribute. And when a man feels like he can add value to your life, his desire deepens. He feels significant, needed, connected. That's what ignites masculine attraction. Not a woman who does everything, but a woman who inspires him to do more. Now, this doesn't mean you should stop being kind, nurturing, or giving. Those are beautiful traits. It just means you give with awareness, you match his energy, you invest where there's reciprocity. If he's not meeting you halfway, you don't fill the gap by doing double. You pull back to your half and let him come forward. That's how you teach a man how to treat you, not through words, but through your boundaries. Because overgiving doesn't make him love you more. It makes him comfortable doing less. And when you start valuing your own effort, you change the entire dynamic. You become the woman who's generous, but never drained, caring, but never taken for granted, the kind of woman who gives from fullness, not fear. So remember, when love feels one-sided, it's not because you're not enough. It's because you're giving to someone who's not ready to receive you. Stop trying to earn what you already deserve. Let your love flow, but only where it's mirrored, because the most irresistible energy a woman can have is knowing she doesn't have to prove her worth. Her worth is already undeniable. Let's be honest, when you've been hurt, disappointed, or led on before, it's natural to want control. You tell yourself, this time, I'm not going to get played. So you start protecting your heart by managing everything, the pace, the communication, the emotions, even how the connection unfolds. You overanalyze his words, plan how to respond, and hold back affection just enough to keep the upper hand. But here's the painful irony: the more you try to control love, the more it slips through your fingers, because love, attraction, and masculine desire don't grow in control. They grow in flow. Men are instinctively drawn to women who radiate calm, confidence, and emotional ease. The kind of woman who doesn't need to chase or manipulate because she trusts her own value. That's feminine energy. It's soft yet strong. It's magnetic, not demanding. It's the energy that says, I don't need to control the outcome because I know my worth will attract what's right for me. When a woman operates from fear or control, that energy shifts. Instead of being open and inviting, it becomes tense and guarded. Instead of connection, there's strategy, and men can feel that. They might not have the words for it, but they sense when a woman's energy moves from relaxed to resistant, and it creates distance. See, feminine energy isn't about being passive or submissive. It's about trusting in yourself, in your timing, in the fact that what's meant for you won't need to be forced. It's about being receptive, intuitive, emotionally present. When you lean into that softness, you invite a man to step into his masculine, to lead, to pursue, to protect, to invest. But when you try to take control, deciding when he should text, what he should say, how he should act, you're stepping into his space, and the dynamic flips. The polarity disappears. The attraction weakens, not because you're too much, but because you're no longer leaving space for him to be the man. Control is often a disguise for fear of rejection, abandonment, or loss. But here's the truth: no amount of control can create emotional safety. Only authentic connection can, and that connection only happens when you let go, when you allow moments to unfold naturally, even if they don't go perfectly. There's something deeply irresistible about a woman who can surrender to the moment, who can laugh when things go wrong, who can express what she feels without worrying how it'll be received, who can be soft without feeling weak. That's the kind of energy that makes a man want to stay, because he feels peace in her presence, not pressure. Think of your feminine energy like a river, flowing, graceful, unstoppable. When you try to control it, it becomes a dam. The water stops, the life fades. But when you let it flow, it finds its way naturally, effortlessly, powerfully. You don't attract love by gripping tighter. You attract it by aligning deeper. You attract it when you trust that you can handle whatever happens, whether he stays or leaves. That kind of self-trust is intoxicating. It's freedom. So if you've been holding on too tightly, trying to manage every detail of the connection, take a breath. Let go a little. Let things breathe. If he's right for you, your softness won't scare him. It will soothe him. It will make him lean closer, not further away, because when you stop trying to control love, you make space for something far better, real intimacy. And that's the secret most women miss men. Don't fall for the woman who has it all figured out. They fall for the woman who makes them feel free. When a man hugs you, it's more than a physical moment. It's an emotional language, a silent confession of what his heart feels but his lips won't say. And when you whisper the right words, you don't just melt his defenses, you touch his soul. The truth is, attraction fades, looks change, but emotional connection, that's what makes a man stay. So the next time he pulls you close, don't just stand there thinking about what to say. Feel the warmth of that embrace. Look up at him. Smile softly. and say something that reminds him why he chose you, something that speaks straight to his emotions, because when you master the art of speaking to a man's heart, not just his mind, you become unforgettable. If this video opened your eyes to the emotional side of love, to the power of words and timing, then take a moment to like this video, subscribe for more insights, and share it with someone who needs to hear this today. And before you go, tell me in the comments below, what's one thing you've always wanted to say to him during a hug but never did? I read every single comment because your story might just inspire our next video. Remember, ladies, love isn't about saying more. It's about saying the right words in the right moment, because one whisper said with love can change everything.